to give you one last chance to stop being so blasphemous, Scottie Pippen. Michael Jordan or LeBron James? Better? Who are you going with?
Well, I'm going to go with Michael Jordan.
Okay.
But statistically, LeBron James is a better basketball.
Drug test him now. I want tests. Take him into a urine sample, get a blood test, drug test him now. You got to be kidding me. I can't.
Magic Johnson, to me, is a bigger GOAT than anybody because of how he led, how he brought a whole team, how when the greatest scorer in the game, Kareem, was not there, and him as a rookie center steps in.
How you the best when you wasn't even the best on your own team? How you the best when you weren't even the number one option? I mean, what? Ooh!
The NBA world just witnessed one of the most explosive confrontations in sports media history. And it's not coming from the court, it's coming from the commentary desk. Stephen A. Smith just demolished Scottie Pippen in what might be the most scathing takedown of a Hall of Famer we've ever seen. And honestly, this isn't just about basketball anymore. This is about legacy, ego, and a six-time champion who might have completely lost the plot. Let's set the scene. Scottie Pippen, one of the greatest defenders to ever lace up sneakers, a crucial piece of the Chicago Bulls dynasty, sits down with Patrick Bet-David. Simple interview, right? Wrong. What followed was a series of statements so audacious, so utterly bewildering, that even the most casual NBA fan had to stop and ask, did he really just say that? And Stephen A. Smith, he didn't just respond, he went nuclear. The debate that's consumed basketball for over a decade, Michael Jordan versus LeBron James, has produced countless hot takes, endless arguments, and more social media wars than we can count. But Scottie Pippen just threw a grenade into the conversation that nobody saw coming. And it wasn't about Jordan or LeBron being the greatest. No, no, no. According to Scottie, neither of them are the GOAT. Wait, what?
It's not even worth talking about
The two of them.
when you ask who's better, LeBron or Michael. You can't ask me who's the GOAT between LeBron and Michael. Neither one of them are GOATs. They both won differently. You can't put them at the top of the pinnacle. Magic Johnson, to me, is a bigger GOAT than anybody because of how he led.
Magic Johnson, that's Scottie's pick. Now look, Magic is an all-time legend. 5 championships, 3 MVPs, revolutionized the point guard position. But here's where it gets messy. Scottie didn't stop there. He went further, much further. He basically suggested that he himself deserves to be in the GOAT conversation. Yes, you read that right. Scottie Pippen believes he has a case for being the greatest of all time. Stephen A. Smith's reaction? Absolute fury. The fact that Scottie Pippen, a player who never averaged more than 22 points per game in a season, who was never even the best player on his own team, would have the audacity to place himself in that conversation is what sent Stephen A. over the edge. And honestly, can you blame him? Here's the reality check Scottie needs. When Michael Jordan retired the first time, Scottie had his chance. He had his opportunity to prove he could be the guy. And what happened? Sure, he made the All-Star team. Sure, he won All-Star Game MVP. He even led the Bulls to 55 wins. But they didn't make it past the second round. They couldn't get over that hump. And when things got tough, when the pressure mounted, where was Scottie?
You're the best, why were you calling for Jordan? If you're the best.
That's the moment that defines the difference between a superstar and a sidekick. That moment when Phil Jackson drew up the final play for Tony Kukoc in 1994, and Scottie literally refused to check back into the game. He quit on his teammates in a playoff game. Bill Cartwright, one of the toughest players of that era, was reportedly in tears in the locker room because of Scottie's actions. You can't claim to be the greatest when you've shown you'll abandon your team when things don't go your way. That's not championship DNA. That's ego overriding commitment. But let's address the elephant in the room, the comparison between LeBron and Scottie that actually has some merit. In the first document, Scottie makes an interesting point about LeBron being asked to do more than Michael Jordan had to do in his era. He argues that LeBron has to score, defend, rebound, and doesn't have that other superstar beside him like Michael had with Scottie.
He has to do as a player, he's asked to do a lot more. He has to score, he has to defend, he has to rebound, and he don't have that other mate, that other superstar beside him.
Now this is where the conversation gets interesting, because there's actually truth here. LeBron has consistently elevated mediocre rosters to championship contention. His 2018 Cavaliers team had no business being in the NBA Finals, but LeBron dragged them there. That's something we need to acknowledge. But here's where Scottie loses the thread again. Stephen A. calls him out on something crucial. LeBron doesn't always give maximum effort on defense, and Scottie, to his credit, actually agrees with this assessment. He admits that while LeBron can do more, the question is whether he consistently does. The fundamental issue with Scottie's entire argument structure is this internal contradiction. He wants to praise LeBron for his all-around game, compare him favorably to Jordan in some respects, but then claim neither of them are the GOAT, while simultaneously suggesting he deserves consideration. It's mental gymnastics that would make an Olympic athlete jealous. Stephen A. Smith tears into this contradiction with surgical precision. He points out that Scottie had a migraine during Game 7 against the Pistons in 1990. A migraine in a Game 7 against the team that had been bullying the Bulls for years. Meanwhile, Michael Jordan never had a convenient illness during crunch time. LeBron, for all his finals losses, has never disappeared because of a headache. The defensive argument Scottie makes about himself is legitimate to a point. He was Defensive Player of the Year. He made the All-Defensive First Team 8 times. He could guard positions 1 through 4 and do it at an elite level. But here's the thing. Scottie had to be that elite defensively because he couldn't carry an offensive load the way Jordan, Kobe, or LeBron could.
You had to play defense because you weren't that great offensively. Tremendous athleticism. 6'9". Could dunk on anybody, as Patrick Ewing would tell you. Had a sporadic jump shot. You were bigger.
That's not a knock on Scottie's greatness. It's just reality. He was a phenomenal player who understood his role. The problem is he's now trying to rewrite history and claim he was something he wasn't. He was never the guy defenses game planned to stop. He was never the closer. He was the perfect Robin to Jordan's Batman, but Robin doesn't get to claim he could have been Batman just because he wore the costume a few times. The numbers don't lie. Michael Jordan averaged 30 points per game 8 times in his career. LeBron has 4 rings, 10 finals appearances, and has been the best player on every team he's ever been on. Scottie Pippen's best statistical season? 1994, when he averaged 22 points, 8.7 rebounds, and 5.6 assists. Those are very good numbers. They're not GOAT numbers. And then there's the Portland situation that Stephen A. brings up. After Scottie left Chicago, partly because he felt underpaid and underappreciated, he went to Portland. The Trailblazers had a legitimate shot at beating the Shaq Kobe Lakers in the 2000 Western Conference Finals. They were up 15 points in the fourth quarter of Game 7, and they collapsed. Scottie was supposed to be the veteran leader who would get them over the hump. Instead, they choked away a trip to the finals. You can't claim to be GOAT when your resume includes quitting on your team in the playoffs, having migraines in Game 7s, and blowing massive leads in conference finals. That's not how this works. But here's what makes this entire situation sad more than anything else. Scottie Pippen was great. He is a Hall of Famer. He is one of the 75 greatest players in NBA history. He has 6 championship rings. His defensive versatility changed how teams thought about wing defense. He was crucial to one of the greatest dynasties in sports history. That should be enough. Why isn't it enough for him? Why does he feel the need to diminish Jordan's legacy? Why does he need to insert himself in a conversation he was never part of? The answer might lie in The Last Dance. The ESPN documentary about the Bulls' final championship run was primarily told through Jordan's perspective. It was about Jordan's leadership, Jordan's greatness, Jordan's legacy, and Scottie felt slighted. He felt like his contributions were minimized, like he was reduced to a footnote in someone else's story.
Salty about The Last Dance because it was about Jordan instead of the team. Not realizing the power of television, and television knew that talking about the Bulls as The Last Dance, if it didn't come through the prism of Jordan, would have never been popular.
That's the crux of it. Scottie wants his flowers. He wants recognition. And instead of letting his actual accomplishments speak for themselves, he's making increasingly outrageous claims that only serve to damage his reputation. The tragedy here is that Scottie Pippen doesn't need to be the GOAT to be great. There's no shame in being the second best player on the greatest team ever assembled. There's no shame in being a Hall of Fame defensive specialist who made his teammates better. There's no shame in being Scottie Pippen. But there is shame in desperately trying to rewrite history to place yourself in a conversation you don't belong. There is shame in diminishing the accomplishments of actual GOAT candidates to elevate yourself. And there's definitely shame in claiming you're better than LeBron when you were never even asked to do half of what LeBron does on a nightly basis. Stephen A. Smith's takedown of Scottie wasn't just about defending Jordan or LeBron. It was about defending basketball truth. It was about saying out loud what everyone was thinking. Scottie, come on, man. The LeBron versus Jordan debate will rage on forever. That's fine. That's what makes basketball beautiful. The arguments, the passion, the endless hypotheticals. But Scottie Pippen inserting himself into that conversation? That's where the line has to be drawn. At the end of the day, Scottie Pippen has 6 rings. He was an integral part of a dynasty. He's a Hall of Famer and one of the greatest defenders ever. But the GOAT? The greatest of all time? Not even close. And the fact that he apparently believes otherwise shows a level of delusion that's honestly concerning. Stephen A. Smith said it best when he asked if anyone has ever heard Scottie Pippen's name mentioned in a GOAT conversation before he started saying it himself. The answer is a resounding no. And there's a reason for that. Greatness doesn't need to announce itself. Michael Jordan didn't need to tell anyone he was the GOAT. LeBron James doesn't need to tell anyone he's in that conversation. Their play speaks for itself. Their achievements, their impact, their ability to be the guy when everything is on the line, that's what creates GOAT conversations. Scottie Pippen was great, but he was never that guy, and no amount of revisionist history or hot takes will change that fundamental truth.